Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of South Drives. Now we have the whole new 5th anniversary carbon fiber that's out in the store, and on top of that carbon fiber there are also the elite offers for you to buy. And honestly, there is no more of an important time than now for me to do a pack review of any pack that's in the store right now, because is it actually worth opening these packs when we are literally 2-3 days away from Black Friday? Well, I'm gonna let you know now with this pack review. Well, the short answer is no, but here's why. And if you want to stay for the long answer, then you can watch the rest of the video. You guys know how it works in these pack reviews. It's their Kaiser, daily driver, frequent provider, pernicious ulcer, and instead of hot garbage, I'm calling it Val choice for today. Kind of like, take it as a shout out, because obviously some of you may know that Val has started his own YouTube channel, and I really want him to succeed, so that could be promotion, I guess. Insult slash promotion. But anyway, 5th anniversary is a pretty interesting one. I really don't understand what's the meaning behind why Top Drives is silver. Is it because, I don't know, you know how the Queen had like a, what is it, platinum jubilee or whatever? Is this like Top Drives silver jubilee? Does it only take 5 years to hit a silver jubilee? I don't know, man, but yeah, very interesting selection. Obviously there is a theme going on here, but I wouldn't necessarily call this the 5th anniversary theme. If anything, I feel like HUD should have chosen and handpicked cars that were specifically very useful in tri-series that have been given out throughout the 5 years of the game. That's how I would have planned it. Like, for example, Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute Finals, the roof RCT was super useful. You know, use that for an example. Or what else? Peugeot HDI FAP, the Mitsubishi Evo 6 was super useful. You know, something like that. But this doesn't, I don't know, they're just all silver, I guess. Anyway, starting off, Acura RDX, frequent provider. Now, I used to rate it lower. It went up mainly because the Volvo XC90 or whatever it is, the Ultra Air, got a massive handling cut. That being said, some other better cars that used to be all-surface tire Ultra Airs moved up to Epic, for example. What is it, Subaru Outback. So because of that, the RDX kind of went up in value. It wins some races against the Nissan Patrol, which are the top 2 RQ64 SUVs nowadays, but when it comes to super twisty SUV American stuff, you still want to go for the Pontiac Torrent just because it handles 1 point better. But the Acura RDX is more of your hybrid, kind of like, you know, rallycross, motocross, that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? It gets value though. It does get value, frequent provider. Okay. Moving on now is going to be the BMW 530D, and that is still going to be Val choice. There's really nothing good to say about it. Handling is bad, rear-wheel drive standard, you know how I feel about that, absolutely useless, 61 MRA. Moving on, Cadillac CTS-V. Now this is a car that I'm relatively interested in. I'm going to put it in frequent provider, mainly because there are not a lot of American medium ground clearance cars that handle pretty well. If you don't have the Pontiac GXP, which, or GTP, GXP I think it's called, which is a prize car, then you kind of are out of the best options already. You want to settle for the next best thing, and the Cadillac CTS-V is that. It's actually pretty good, 84 MRA, and it handles pretty well. 233 that bad boy. It'll be 88 handling with a relatively low 0 to 60, along with medium ground clearance. Moving on is the Chrysler 300C Hemi. Now the Hemi I've been a fan of. I understand that I've always said that rear-wheel drive standard tires is really bad, and it is, don't get me wrong, and you know, it has less handling than the BMW 530D. So why do I like this car? 5.30 to 60 is ridiculously low. I mean, for 3 RQ more from the BMW to the Chrysler, you're getting a 0 to 60 difference of 1.1 seconds. That's over an entire second. When you max out the 300C Hemi, it actually has a 0 to 60 of 4.4 seconds, which is kind of unrivaled in the rear-wheel drive standard tire category if you take away the Maybach Lawn delay. I'm not saying that the 300C Hemi is a good car, but surprisingly, it has actually gotten me a decent amount of value. So I'm going to put it there based off personal usage of the car. Moving on is the Dodge Charger SRT8, man. And the Dodge Charger SRT8 is a bit of a pernicious ulcer. I love the car, but it just falls short of the mark. First of all, it's very heavy. It's 1,980 kilograms stock. The handling is okay, but it's not good enough. The 0 to 60 is low, but once again, it's just not that good. What I'll say is this: I'm actually gonna bump it up because there is one thing that I did forget. Let's not forget that the Charger SRT8 used to be RQ63 with the same stats, but now as an RQ59, I feel like you can get more value out of these stats as a 59 compared to when it was a 63. So I'm actually gonna move it up to freaking provider to take into account that RQ drop that it recently got in PL15. Okay, moving on now. Infinity Q70 Hybrid 63 MRI, a very heavy car. It does handle better than the 530D by 1 point, but as you can see, the 0 to 60 is lower compared to the Hemi, and the hybrid, the Infinity Hybrid, is how many RQ more? Like 5 RQ more? And again, you know, these two cars have very similar MRA. I mean, they're both really bad. The Infinity is 63 and the Chrysler is 65. So it's funny because in a quarter mile, the Chrysler will actually beat the Infinity, which is really sad on the Infinity's end. Pernicious also. It's just too high of an RQ. The stats is just not worth it in my opinion. Infinity QX56 is going to be Val choice. That thing's garbage. Maserati Grand Cabrio Sport, pernicious also. You're going to get use out of it from time to time. For an RQ55, it handles pretty well. And a 69 MRA, which is nothing. And the 0 to 60 could be better. The top speed is kind of redundant or useless, irrelevant, because it has no MRA. But once again, man, the Charger and the Maserati, these two cars, I've gotten use of them in this recent 5th anniversary event that's going on right now. That being said, outside of this event, you don't use them that often, honestly. At least the Charger SRT8 is a saloon, and saloons usually are more noticed in the game compared to a convertible. Moving on is the Mercedes CLS 500. I'm gonna put that in frequent provider once again. It's a decent car, man. It's strong. It's 80 MRA, which is like really strong, and you know, it has a very good balance of low 0 to 60 and high handling. If anything, it combines the handling of the 530D, which is the 530D's biggest standout, even though it's a very bad car, and it has a lower 0 to 60 than the Chrysler 300C Hemi. The Benz, I would say, is actually a very good car. Moving on is the Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG. Now, once again, this is a car that I've wanted to own for a very long time. It's a low 0 to 60 and has got decent MRI of 78. I'm gonna put it in daily driver based off what other owners have said, because I have ranked this car before and I've already asked in those videos, if you own the car, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And I've read the comments, and a lot of owners said that this is, you know, it basically got a lot of positive reviews, and I expected that case, to be fair, because this is a car that I've been looking for quite some time, even when it still was an Epic. So it looks like it's a pretty decent car, a very good city street small car for sure, because of that MRA and the low 0 to 60. It's a good daily driver. All right, moving on. Mercedes-Benz SL73 AMG, but for the most part, you guys got to remember this is all in my opinion, but I do take into account what you guys say as well. SL73 AMG, now I'm gonna put it in pernicious also, because it's RQ50. Honestly, if it was RQ55 or 54, I would put it down to Bell choice. The thing about the car is this, right? The 0 to 60 is very low. For an RQ50, it's ridiculously low. Top speed is also really high. The thing that really just makes this thing irrelevant though is 68 MRA. Really? 68 MRA? On an AMG? On an SL? That just doesn't seem right, but as it stands right now in the game, it has 68 MRA, but it's got a good 0 to 60 for a very cheap RQ, but still, it's kind of useless. I'm going to put it in pernicious also. Next up, Mercedes-Benz SLK32 AMG. Where am I going to put the 32 AMG? Okay, so the 32 AMG is 68.66 MRA, which isn't a good start. It is light, to be fair. 0 to 60 could be better, and at least it handles better than the SL73, but I think these two cars are just about the same, honestly. Like, for a bit more RQ, you get a bit more handling, same MRA, way lower top speed, about the same 0 to 60. Actually worse. Opel GTC Concept. This is a tough one. I want to put it in frequent provider, but for the same reason why I'm putting the 300C in a higher tier, because from personal usage it's actually been quite useful. I want to put the GTC in pernicious ulcer because from personal usage it has been disappointing. It's a car that I thought would strive, to be honest, but it has 45 MRA, so and it's really heavy too. Oh, it's not really heavy, but it's on the heavier side, you know, more than 1,500 kilograms. But yeah, the 45 MRA is a real kicker over here. It's got a low 0 to 60. The handling is actually good, but yeah, man, 45 MRA, this thing is like 60 is bad, 70 is considered pretty bad, 60 is bad, 45, That is just handicapped. Next up, 911 GT3. I'm gonna put this in daily driver. 82 MRA, and it is one of the best of the higher tier Ultra Porsches. Handles very well, low 0 to 60, high top speed, has the MRA to boot. All over or all around, it's a very good all-rounder. Spiker C at La Violet, I'm still gonna put it into Kaiser. Even though I'm probably going to remove it from Blossom Choice. The only thing good about this thing now is that it's a great test bowl car, because when it comes to the dregs, where this thing was, you know, really good in, it now loses to the BMW M5 everywhere. But, you know, in terms of just this pack alone, this is still one of the best Ultras to unpack. I'd be really happy to get it. I want one and I want to max it out. Next up, the Subaru Forester 68 MRA, a very low 0 to 60. I would say it's a very similar situation to the Chrysler 300C Hemi, as in, like, they're both the same MRA. They both don't handle particularly very well, but they're both medium, and the Subaru has 4-wheel drive, and, you know, it has a very low 0 to 60. Like, it will be good in short burst track sets. There are times where it will be useful, but not very often. I would put it in frequent provider. This is like the definition of Vel choice, the Tribeca. Okay, now we move on to Epic. So we start off with the DB10. I still think that this car has like 98 MRA as it used to be, but yeah, the reality is it has 76 MRA. For an RQ67 though, it handles ridiculously well and has a ridiculously low 0 to 60. I'm gonna put it in daily driver because for an RQ67, those stats can't lie. No MRA, I understand. 0 to 60 useless, I understand. But that 0 to 60, that handling, it's a very good twisty car, I would say, for 67. Moving on, the Audi A7 Sportback is hot garbage or Vel choice, whatever you want to call it, because, you know, it's an Audi, but also because it loses to the CT6 absolutely everywhere, and it's the same RQ, doesn't make any sense, loses to the I-Pace, loses to the DS numero 9, and those two cars that I mentioned are lower than RQ79, so it makes no sense for this car to be 79, one of the worst Vel choice. The Donk I'll put in Pernicious Ulcer. The main thing why I'm not putting it in Vel choice is because it's really light, 630 kilograms, so you're gonna definitely get use out of that, right? Donkavort D8 GT, whenever I think of this car, I think of how I've made Android fuse it away, and I feel bad about it. Pernicious Ulcer. That one's gonna be a bit of a hot topic, I would say. I feel like people will disagree with me. The only problem with the D8 GT is that it's just so damn close to the orange donks, which are just better. The orange donks are like RQ6 76, 77, something around that range. And the D8 GT is just way too close to that in RQ. And it's just gonna lose to the orange donks in any twisty circuit anyway. So unfortunately, I'll put in Pernicious Ulcer. If it was a lower RQ, let's say like 73, 72, I'd definitely bump it up. Fireball GTS, definitely Der Kaiser. CLK GTM, definitely Der Kaiser. These two are Hellcat killers. I mean, the Fireball GTS is a legendary killer. But yeah, the AMG CLK is a Hellcat killer for RQ72. It's a ridiculously strong car. I absolutely love it. And it's a convertible. There are not a lot of convertibles in the game that can get up to 98 MRA. So, very strong. And the Fireball GTS needs no introduction. The thing is a beast. 104 MRA with that 0 to 60 and that top speed. One of the best, if not the best epic that you can get from this pack. Mercedes AMG E63S, Pernicious Ulcer. Only reason why it's not Vel choice, medium ground clearance, saloon type, and a low 0 to 60. No MRA, handling could be better. Benz C112, I'm gonna put in daily driver. Main reason being for, once again, kind of like the DB10, for a super cheap RQ, you're getting a ridiculously high top speed and ridiculously good handling. And unlike the DB10, the C112 actually has good MRA. So the fact that it has a really high top speed isn't irrelevant for this car because it has 87 MRA and it handles as well. It has everything besides a good 0 to 60. That's it. It's a good car. Next up is the SLR. Now the SLR 83 MRA, very low 0 to 60, handles well, but it kind of is a hybrid car, jack of all trades, master of none, but in a good sense, daily driver. Porsche 911. It's just sad. It's Vel choice. I love Porsche. I love that picture, and I love that car, and I love the generation. But there is no denying that that car is useless, and so is this. I had that as a legendary, man, and it was losing to basically anything that existed. Very sad. Rez Vani Beast Alpha is next, and I'm going to put it. Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna put in frequent provider. It's a good car, 97 MRA. It's a great car, ridiculously low 0 to 60, right? It's a great car. The only issue is it's too close to the Blue Resvani. The Blue Resvani, RQ79, 1 RQ more, better in every way, in every track. I'm sorry, man. I can't put it in daily driver. You won't get so much value. As long as that Blue Resvani exists, the epic, the silver one will always be second. No matter how good the MRA is, it's just going to not be as good as the blue one. So I'm gonna put it in frequent provider. Moving on are the two Subis. Now these two Subis I kind of have a soft spot for. They have no MRA. Okay, both of them are 55 MRA. That being said, these two cars are identical. Almost the same 0 to 60, almost the same weight, only 5 kilograms separating the two cars. Same 0 to 60, same handling, almost the same top speed. That's what I meant to say by 1 mile per hour. These two cars, they do get value. I'm actually going to put them in daily drive. They have very low 0 to 60s. I have the 76 S204 maxed out, 3.695, especially now since the Evo 10 and the Evo 9 are now up to legendary tier. These cars are very useful, and they're only behind the RQ79 Subarus, which are, you know, 3 RQ higher. So I'm gonna put them in daily driver. You are gonna get use out of them. One of the few Subarus which I would definitely recommend. This one though, no, Bell choice. TVR Sagaris is next. 83 MRA just isn't good enough. In my opinion, it's Bell choice. All right, let's move on to legendaries. Bentayga. Oh god. Yeah, I don't think I need any introductions for any of these, so I'm just gonna put them all there. You there. Any other legendaries I'm definitely gonna put in Bell choice? No, I don't think so. But I want to start off with the Lamborghinis first. So the Lamborghinis, the Aventador Roadster, and the Reventon. Now the Reventon I'm going to put in frequent provider. I've owned this car for almost 3.5 years now or something like that, and I've literally never used it. There's been a 2007 final, and I didn't even use the Reventon for that. It doesn't have bad stats though, you know, like the handling is good, to be fair. You max it out, that's 99, you know, it's got a low 0 to 60. You can get value out of it, but you need to put some upgrades into it for it to be a frequent provider. But yeah, it definitely isn't as useless as, you know, the crap that you see at the bottom. And then moving on, the Roadster, I'm gonna put it in daily driver. It's like, it's not bad, but it's not good. Alright, moving on now is the Centenario, because I'll do Lambos first. Centenario is their Kaiser. Centenario is like the best packable Lambo that you can get. So that, and like I think, like I would say Centenario and Huracan Spider and maybe Aventador SVJ. No, not SVJ, SV are like the best. Like those are the Kaiser Lamborghinis. Alright, moving on. Donk. I would still put Donk in their Kaiser, even though I got an MRA cut. I don't care, because it's still very lightweight, still has a very low 0 to 60, and it still has really good handling. So it was a twisty car before, it's a twisty car now. No change. Moving on, Koenigsegg Agera is also going to be their Kaiser. This thing recently got an MRA buff, and it has an MRA of 101 with 250 for top speed. Yeah, man, that the car is definitely their Kaiser. Same thing for the CCXR. The CCXR, ooh, this one's interesting though, actually, because it's the same RQ as the Agera. It's 88 MRA. Yeah, it's got a 0.1 second lower 0 to 60, but who the hell cares? It will always be in the shadow of the Agera, and because of that, I'm putting in daily driver. Alright, Nissan Skyline GTR Nismo. 85 RQ. I like this car. I really do. I have a soft spot for it. But truly, it's no better than a frequent provider. And last but not least, the Rimac Concept 1, the Kaiser, for sure. So this pack, I would say, I already said this, I already knew this the moment it came out. It's a very 50-50 pack, you know? It's not a hot garbage pack where, like, there's more bad than good. It's very equal, as you can see. It's definitely very equal. You know, legendaries, you either get really good legendaries or really bad legendaries. Epics is the same thing. You get really bad epics or you get really good epics. Well, actually, they're not all really good epics. I only ranked 2 at the highest tier, but these ones are decent over here. And ultra rares, you know, once again, you get some decent ones, and then you get some really bad ones as well. Honestly, like, it's a very 50-50 epic, and I think the best way to describe it is that you can either get a Rimac as a legendary or a Bentley Bentayga. You know, it's like one or the other. There's nothing in between. Hopefully you get lucky. If not, you're gonna get a Bentayga. If you get a legendary, you know. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be my assessment of the pack. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the video, should you open this? Absolutely not. Just wait for Black Friday. Guys, Black Friday, it's like 2 days away, okay? It's like 1 day away. It depends on when I post this video. Just wait for that, man. That's when you want to spend your gold. Not on this, but on the Black Friday offers. But anyway, if you were curious to see my assessment on the 5th anniversary carbon fiber, this is exactly what it is. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Everyone, stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold